I'm joined here today with Executive Chairman Alain Lambert from Prismo Metals. Welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, there's a very interesting story. I know that I've been following this for a little bit, but for someone who has not seen this company or heard of them before, do you mind giving a little bit of an overview of who Prismo Metals is and what you've been working on now?
Yes, so Prismo Metals is a junior exploration company put together by three people. Myself, who has a capital markets and legal background. Craig Gibson, who's our CEO, he's a PhD in geology. And Peter McGaw, who's also a doctor in geology. We have three projects, two in Mexico, one in Arizona. And we have a silver prospect, a gold prospect, and a copper prospect. The copper prospect being in Arizona. We have a share structure that's done the old-fashioned way, which means that management and the founder owns a big proportion of the stock, and we only have 40 million shares outstanding and about a $6 million market cap.
Very interesting. Appreciate that. And rapid fire too. And just before we start really going into the projects that you just mentioned there, I want to talk about the share structure, shares in general, because you specifically, since December 2023, the SEDI filings have shown that you've had 36 separate buys, adding 180,000 shares to your position over that time. You don't normally see that. You're quite literally like weekly having buys on the open market. What do you see in this to make you this confident about your company?
Somebody noted to me that in that period, I increased my share ownership by 26%. And to me, it's very simple. Our stock's undervalued. And we believe in the projects that we have. We believe in the ability that we have to move these projects forward.
Yeah.
And I would say for investors, in general, they need to look at companies where there is a strong ownership by management and they're not afraid to buy more.
I agree. Absolutely. Well, we've got a good understanding of management, of the overall company as well, but let's start talking about the actual projects. Do you mind diving into the projects that you're working on? You've had some drilling recently as well. Do you mind updating investors on that?
Yes. So we have three projects, as I mentioned, three very different projects. Let's start with the first one called Palos Verdes. It's a silver prospect in Mexico. We acquired that property before we went public. And then something magical happened. We got surrounded by Vizsla Silver. Yeah. They ended up making a large discovery. They've got now $400 million market cap.
Wow.
And at Palos Verdes, they surround us on three sides. So we did significant amount of drilling at Palos Verdes, found amazing grades and love everything we saw. And Vizsla last year took a 10% interest in our company. They invested $2 million. We set up a technical committee between their VPX, Peter McGaw, and our CEO, Craig Gibson. Mm-hmm. And we're just about to start drilling that property again. And this time we want to drill deeper down. So in order to get the right angle, we're going to step out of our property onto Vizsla's property. And then we're going to be drilling at depth. Yeah. And probably start that in March or April. Okay. And in that asset, given its size and the fact that it's surrounded by Vizsla, it is our expectation that eventually, as we define more of what's there, that property is going to end up being owned by Vizsla.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, I guess it pays to have a company like that as a shareholder, because not only will they potentially buy that out if they can prove something out there, but also you're actually allowed to go on their property to get the drill in the right angle. So that's a win-win.
That's right. Yes.
Well, you've also identified priority drill targets at your Hot Breccia copper project in Arizona as well. Do you mind diving into that one?
Yes. So the Hot Breccia project we auctioned last January. It's, as people to use industry terms, so it's elephant country. It's got the right address and all of that. And so it is located an hour and a bit north of Tucson, Arizona, about an hour and a half from Phoenix. It's accessible by a major road, and it's contiguous to the old Christmas mine owned by Freeport, which is a copper producer, right south of the Ray mine, which has been in operations for over 100 years, and probably 40 miles south of Resolution, which is the third largest copper deposit in the world.
Wow.
And there are other large deposits around it. So So we are awaiting the issuance of the drilling permit, which we hope to get in March or April. Now then we're going to be drilling those targets. It's a property that's already been drilled. It was drilled in the late 70s, early 80s. We have partial results, and we're going to look for that deep, rich copper porphyry, and hopefully we'll be successful.
Yeah, it's fantastic to hear and appreciate that. Well, you were already leaning towards my last question, Brian, to go dive deeper into it. For investors who have heard this story and they're now hearing everything that you're saying as well, what should they be excited about in the coming weeks and months coming from your team?
So we know that investors have had a favorable sentiment towards copper. There are companies that have had tremendous success, and one of them that we like to point to is Hercules Silver.
Yeah,
and I think it's a good blueprint for what could happen if we are successful in doing what we're doing, which is twinning some historical holes. We've run some geophysics, and out of that analysis that will direct us towards other holes that we're going to be drilling.
Yeah.
And if you look at Hercules Silver, if you hit, people pay attention.
Which is nice to see, right? We've had some tough markets over the last 2 years, but we're starting to see now, if you have the goods, the market is absolutely still there. It will follow good results. So looking forward to seeing those coming from you and your team. Well, Alain, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And if anyone was looking to more into your company, where can they turn?
PrismoMetals.com. And we also are quite active on social media, the usual Twitter and so on and so forth. We communicate with investors every week, several times a week. They can find us on all the social media platforms.
Perfect. Good to hear. And thank you again, once again, for your time.
Thanks for having me again.